How does your childhood determine your financial future? Hi, I'm attorney Paul Deloughery, and I do estate planning and probate litigation. I also inherited $14 million in 2010, and I have none of that money left. And I've spent a long time trying to play back all the events over the years and figure out what in the world happened. And frankly, I realized some of this I've been realizing recently had to do with how I was raised. And let me tell you a specific story. So when I was maybe about 12 years old, 11 something, my mom's sister was just getting released from an alcohol treatment place. And she had had her children removed from her custody. She was getting them placed back with her. She was trying to get a new life started. And my mom and stepdad bought a house for them. Now, we lived in Winona, Minnesota at the time. Beautiful city, by the way, small town, whatever. And so my mom and stepdad bought a fixer-upper house. Just a quick little story. So it had a big hole in the backyard where a swimming pool used to be. This is in Minnesota, where there's only like a couple months you would want to go swimming. But they'd removed the swimming pool, and so my dad then, he was in real estate. He had Phil brought in, filled up the hole, and then he and I kind of worked to level it off and plant grass and so on. So we put some work into the place. At some point, maybe a week or two after my aunt and my cousins moved in, my mom came over and discovered that they were having a steak dinner with candles and being all fancy, and my mom flipped out. How dare you spend a bunch of money on steak and candles and enjoying life when we used our hard-earned money to buy this house for you? I remember that story, and what I learned from it as a 11, 12-year-old is that you don't really get to do what you desire. Rather, you need to figure out what the rules are and comply with those rules. And one of the rules is money's, you have to work hard for your money and appreciate it and show appreciation. And like, I guess if you're going to do something nice for yourself, maybe figure out who you need to ask permission from before you do that. And this, by the way, I've only just recently remembered this because I was reading a book about the psychology of money and how a healthy psychology is to focus on what you desire. And that just got me really thinking. I remember when I went from being a paycheck to paycheck beginning lawyer to having $14 million in my of stock in my TD Ameritrade account. I certainly didn't focus on what I desired. That was never even a thought, okay? My mindset at the time was, well, I need to figure out, what should I do? And the should I do part was, well, I just kind of made it up. I should invest it wisely, but I also need to be aggressive because I just lost half of it to taxes. So I just kind of like made it up, and I started listening to people because, again, I wasn't taught to listen to myself. I was taught to listen to other people. And of course, when your net worth is over $1 million, you're an accredited investor. And then, so I qualified for all kinds of private equity deals that all turned out to be just junk. And, they all went bad. And in the process, I never asked myself, what did I want? Now, well, that's not totally true. Let me explain. Okay, if you asked me back in 2010, do you want the $14 million or do you want to lose it? I would have said, well, I want to keep it, and I want to, invest it and have it grow and live a great life and be able to help the world and all that kind of stuff. But I didn't, I mean, I was never taught to listen to myself, to, you know, like listen to intuition. And yeah, I was taught to like look elsewhere for what the right answer was. So do you relate to this? Because you know what you think about is creating your reality. And if you look around your situation, you know you've created that based on your thoughts. And let me just ask you, have you learned any of these beliefs that I had when I came into money and lost it? I mean, again, basically, I reset. I was, you know, comfortable at being paycheck to paycheck, and I knew how to do that. And then when I was put in a different situation, like I somehow subconsciously figured out how to change so I could get back to the situation that I was comfortable in. And do you have any of the same beliefs that I have, like that you're not supposed to go after what you desire? I mean, I know I went through school and I was taught that okay, if I want this toy and someone else wants the toy, well, I have to share. But that's not what I desire. I desire to play with the toy. So I think we're all taught not to go after what you desire, but to, you know, like to learn what the rules are and comply with those rules. And I would be really curious to hear in the comments, like, you know, what are rules that you learned along the way that maybe are holding you back, and you know, like I just want to hear other stories. I hope I'm not the only one here. I hope it's not just me. I'm pretty sure that this applies to a lot of people, because I think a lot of people, you know, pay attention to advertisements about what they should be doing. And I mean, social media, shoot, if people, I think if people internally like made their own decision on what they want to do, maybe social media wouldn't be as popular in terms of like telling people or like showing things about, you know, hey, this is cool and this is cool, and like it, I don't know. Am I off base? Let me know in the comments. Be nice, okay? But anyway, no, I just wanted to do this video because it's shocking to me that 12 years after this happened, I'm still like trying to piece everything together about the beliefs that I was taught, or the things I was taught that basically put me in the position where I was unable to keep the money. And now, obviously, I'm wanting to build a better life and learn from my mistakes and become the kind of person who can accept money and create money. And we're all created in that way, so we all have the ability. It's just that we stop ourselves. So I'm going to end the video. I hope this maybe spoke something to you. I have a dump truck there. Anyway, yeah, please like and subscribe. Let me know, you know, if you have any other questions or if you want me to do other videos about other topics. Okay, have a great day.